Indeed. It's Ringside Report MMA. We're previewing UFC 311. Makhachev versus Tsarukyan, Nurmagomedov versus Dvalishvili. It's UFC 311. Time to investigate.
Let's go.
Investigate 311.
What's up, homie? Can you hear us?
We don't hear you, Dave.
As usual. Oh, Dave's going to be
How are
pissed.
we? I'm back.
We're good, man. We're good.
Investigate 311.
Nice. Investigate, dude. That's what it's all about.
We have
This
to.
is the first one, man, of 2025, man. We're going to have our first watch-along pay-per-view on Saturday.
Why you
want to
investigate?
Just
what do you want to
the
investigate?
details. It's an Eric Andre thing. You guys haven't seen Eric Andre? You always said
I don't know
investigate 311, and then he had 311 on the show. The Eric Andre show. You haven't seen that, Fred? I haven't showed that to you?
It's no clue who that is.
Okay.
He's
It's
from
just
Quebec.
every time I hear UFC 311, I think investigate UFC 311, but I guess that's just me. I'm the only one on the show who's thinking that, and that's okay. That's okay, guys. We're three different perspectives on MMA here, and that's what makes the Ringside Report MMA show great. Again.
For sure, man.
Again?
Do you hear my voice? It's off.
Yeah.
Man. Don't I have a radio voice right now?
You're here to make Ringside Report MMA great again, AJ.
I am, man.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get greater this year, dude. 2025.
It's interesting. It's an interesting time, and UFC 311 is going to be a lot of fun. They're doing it at the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles coming up on Saturday night. We will be watching along with you 10 p.m. Eastern Time when the pay-per-view starts. Our show will start. And it's a cool building that they have. They did the first Raw on Netflix in this building. So the TKO group that owns the WWE and the UFC, going back here a couple weeks later, well, I guess a week later, that Raw on Netflix was not this past Monday, but like last Monday. It's like 10 days out. They're going back to this arena, and it's a cool arena. They have lights on the seats that interact with stuff going on.
Really?
Have you seen any of this?
Wow.
I wonder if the UFC is going to
man.
use any of that type of production. I think they will.
Can you show a bit of it? Can you show a bit of it on like it would be cool.
I don't
to
know.
see
If
what
you
you're
watched
talking
Raw
about,
on
dude.
Netflix, which you told me you did, you would have seen it. No?
I don't recall, man.
You don't recall? Well, there's lights
see
on the
it, man.
seats. When you'll see it at the pay-per-view. Let's just get excited for the pay-per-view. I'm excited for the fights. We can be excited for the lights on the seats. I'm wondering about the general buzz, the mainstream buzz for this pay-per-view. I feel like it's not as strong as it should be considering the level of MMA we are about to see this weekend. I'm not hearing from people about
Really? You
this
think
fight.
so?
People aren't going nuts about this weekend where you're really having four of the top fighters in the world going head-to-head. I mean, it's number one and number two in the 155-pound division with Islam Makhachev, the champion, and Arman Tsarukyan, the challenger. It's number one and number two at bantamweight with Merab Dvalishvili, the champion, and Umar Nurmagomedov here, the challenger. I mean, it's a legit pay-per-view. It's a legit double main event.
It's good, man.
And I feel like, for me, as a fight fan, Umar and Merab could main event a pay-per-view. But the fact that they're not is maybe an indication of the drawing power of all of these guys. And I would say specifically the drawing power of Islam Makhachev. I don't know if he's become a big draw in the UFC. He's obviously one of the best fighters in the world. If we're fight fans, we're paying attention to his fights because, the greatness continues and grow. I mean, the legend keeps growing of Islam every time he steps in there. But I don't know if that's translating to pay-per-view buys and general interest. I feel like if Islam was a big draw, they wouldn't have needed to add Merab and Umar to this pay-per-view. if Islam and Arman
man.
was a legit draw. I mean, Arman is not a draw. He's basically unknown.
He's the $100 million man.
Okay. You know what I'm saying, though, Fred. He's not. I don't know what that even means. He's the $100
You
million
don't know?
man? No.
Henry Cejudo said because he's coming from wealth, and supposedly his father's like worth $100 million.
Oh, really? Tsarukyan?
Shit.
Yeah.
What?
Oh. I had no idea.
He's Armenian. A lot of money there, man.
Well, he is just not a guy that many people know about. He's, new on the scene. He's young. He's not talked a lot of trash and made a name for himself in that type of way. He's just good at fighting. And that's great for us, but I don't know if that's translating into big numbers for the UFC. And on the A side of that coin is Islam Makhachev, who's the reigning, defending lightweight champion, who has been put up against some draws to, I think, bolster his drawing power. Like, he fought Dustin Poirier in his last fight. I don't know if Dustin Poirier was the number one contender and really the top lightweight and the top challenge more than he was the biggest name that they could legitimately put up against Islam at that point in time. I feel like that was the money fight, and this is the real fight. And Islam is not like a huge draw. I think for us, he's can't miss. But, for the general public, for the mainstream, the casuals, I don't know if this is bringing in the casuals. I think the casuals were there. Like, there's a guy I know who I would consider a casual, and he talks to me about MMA. And he talked to me about that Islam Poirier fight. He was hyped for that fight because Dustin Poirier was in it. I haven't heard him say a word about Islam and Tsarukyan. I doubt he knows who Tsarukyan is.
So
I think that's the difference.
Could Islam be the problem? He's not a draw?
I think so.
Possible?
I think so.
I mean, he doesn't have a lot of personality and all that, so I don't know. And as great as he is, he's not undefeated. He has one loss, so he's not like Khabib, who had like sort of that mystique. Well,
exactly.
I don't know.
I think he's got mystique. I think he's got Khabib-like mystique, though. I think he does.
Well, not okay. Yes and no. And I think Freddie's right. Like, if you look at Islam, he hasn't lost in nearly a decade, but he doesn't have that kind of that weird marketability like Khabib. Khabib was like the boogeyman.
Wrong.
He was everything.
Wrong.
Islam
Khabib was not a draw until he fought Conor McGregor.
In a way, you know what?
And when he fought Conor and beat Conor on that big stage and it was pandemonium afterwards, the whole world was like, ooh, this Khabib guy's cool. He's really good. And then everybody paid attention to Khabib because he was on such a big stage that people wanted to follow him. And Khabib didn't fight much after that. How many fights did he have after Conor? 1 or 2?
Well, he was supposed to fight Tony Ferguson like 3 times, But you know what I'm saying? There was a lot of hype on that as well, Dave.
Khabib after Conor fought twice. He fought 2 times. He was not a draw for the UFC. This thing that Khabib was a big draw and sold a bunch of pay-per-views for the UFC is a myth. It's not true. He was a great fighter. He was the best lightweight in the world years before he was given a title shot. But, he'd probably still be lightweight champion if he didn't retire. But, that's not the point. I don't think Khabib was ever a draw, and I don't think Islam is a draw either. And that sucks because I think Islam is amazing and Khabib was amazing as well. And I'm very excited for this fight.
I mean, they're all amazing on this card. This is like an awesome card. This is like, it's a blockbuster here, man. And you're right. For the casual fans, there's not names that'll capture them. I mean, Sean O'Malley will bring a bigger buzz than like Arman Tsarukyan, which is unbelievable. But when you look what Arman's done, I mean, this guy, on this card, it could go either or. And like when we start breaking it down, that's how close of a fight each one is. And it's a sick card. We're going to see belts being stolen, belts being defended. We're going to see like some crazy shit on Saturday. But this card, man, coming into 2025 is unbelievable. But yeah, it's lacking that cherry on top. So whose fault is that? Dana should have been promoting this shit there should have been something going on. I hate to say it. Sometimes you got to get in and use maybe that political, maybe that religious edge to get people fired up. I know David's bad, but sometimes you need to do that. Like Conor did with Khabib.
I think it's just a matter of there are no mega draws in the UFC currently. I think, you've got the Alex Pereira card that you can pull once or twice a year, and even then, I don't know how the Roundtree fight did. I think we're just in an era right now in the UFC where there are great fighters, probably the best crop of fighters we've ever seen in the history of the sport, but nobody's really, capturing the attention of the world right now in MMA. There's not a single fighter you could point to. I feel like Jake Paul is a bigger name than anybody in the UFC right now.
Who's been saying that forever, Dave? You know that. But the thing is that you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at. I mean, Islam would mop the floor with that guy, but, Jake Paul would outsell him.
Yeah, you're right. And that's the problem. So it's hard to follow guys like Conor McGregor, Alex Pereira, even a John Jones, who's had, a harder time in marketability at times. But you see, that's the thing when you have a Conor, when you have something so big like this guy. Like if something happens with Conor today, that'll be the news, not this fight that's coming up on Saturday. And that's the problem. They need to find another marketable star. And you're right. The fighters that are in the UFC right now, on the top 10, the top 15, any one of those guys could be a champion. They're one fight away from literally being a champion. That's how sick the UFC has got. It's become a real legitimate sport. Mm-hmm. You've got real killers here. They're all chess masters, in the game of of the UFC.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. But it's okay because you know what? The bottom line is that you want I want to watch a fight that is actually good. And most UFC fans that are pushing and the growth of it is people that want to see, a good sport. Like if I watch football, I want to see a good match between football teams, basketball, hockey. I don't want it to be the Harlem Globetrotters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the Washington Nationals. I want to see reality.
You're right. And I think as a fan of the sport, as a real fan of MMA, 2024 was incredible. Right? We had some amazing fights. We had some amazing pay-per-views. It's a great time to be an MMA fan. The sport is great. It is very high level. It's just not captivating the mainstream as it has in the past. But that doesn't really bother me as a fan. I don't care. I'm enjoying it. I'm hyped as hell for Islam and Tsarukyan. That is a massive fight. And I think people are, fans of Islam Makhachev. I think he is a draw to a certain extent, but not as big as you might expect for how good he is. You know what I mean? It's like the Demetrius Johnson effect. It was people paid attention to Demetrius, but Demetrius was the best fighter in the world. And they weren't paying as much attention to him as other people at the time, And it's kind of the deal with Islam. He is the best. And I think he's going to beat Tsarukyan. Islam Makhachev right now, minus 350 the favorite to win. Tsarukyan plus 255 the underdog. That seems about right. They fought several years ago. Islam won by decision. Islam is 33 years old now. Tsarukyan, just 28. They fought, 6 years ago? April 2019. Tsarukyan was 20, 21 at the time. Young guy. I think it was his first fight in the UFC. And he went 3 rounds with Islam Makhachev. Went to a decision. But Islam has evolved. Tsarukyan has evolved. They're both better fighters than they were back then. What'd you say?
I said they both made huge strides, both of them.
Yeah.
And Tsarukyan looks in incredible shape. Like he looks like $100 million.
Yeah, he looks great. He's jacked. I didn't love the performance against Charles Oliveira in his last fight. I thought he looked okay, but he didn't look like a guy that could beat Islam Makhachev. And I just think Islam is too good in every aspect of the game. I think Islam is so far ahead of Arman Tsarukyan. Tsarukyan kind of knows it. Watching the press conference of Tsarukyan, it was kind of like he kind of knew what he was in for. I don't know if you guys caught the pre-fight press conference. Tsarukyan saying he's got some sort of secret technique that he's going to drop in the fight. He says, if I throw it, it will land. Some sort of secret technique. I'm kind of wondering what it is. What could it be?
Secret technique. Ninja
Spinning knee? Something that we've never seen before type of thing. Is he going to do a... I mean, what could you possibly do that we haven't seen before in the UFC? How many kicks or punches are there?
Flip.
Like a flipping elbow or something?
It could be like a tornado kick or something like we've seen sort of like someone try in the past. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like, in
the Glaube Feitosa
martial
kick?
Arts.
You know about that kick? The Glaube kick? Glaube Feitosa. I don't know if I could show that.
Feitosa means what? Deadly?
I don't know what it means, but this dude's kick was
whatever trick you have, you still got to apply it, Look.
It was a question mark kick that he would throw. Question mark kick.
Yeah, it might be that
Could
tornado
we see that
kick.
in the UFC?
That's what I'm thinking. Big Country tried to pull it off one time, like a long time ago, but I mean, if it connects, it's a knockout for sure. Yeah, I mean, pretty much it could be lethal, but you got to get.
I think he's gonna hit the spear, brother. I think he's gonna run across the cage and spear Islam through the octagon, like Roman Reigns. Askren, man. He's gonna hit a leg drop like Hulk Hogan. I mean, what's the secret move? Tombstone pile driver.
Yeah, but you know what the thing is that it's
bring
not
back
like
the Rampage power
like...
bomb. Rampage Jackson.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
I mean, what do you do against Islam Makhachev? If you had to come up with a secret move to do against Islam, what would it be that you think might win?
Poison his food the night before.
Bring a gun.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's room service from Dana White. Oh, Donna, yeah. Okay,
drug him.
Drug him, yeah. Spike his water with LSD. Ridiculous amounts of LSD. He shows up, he sees like 10
Islam starts fighting with Khabib and everybody.
Yeah. I think that's really the only way to stop Islam. And even then,
no, but we can't you know what? The odds makers obviously are going towards Islam, but it's still very close. I don't think anybody's going to be submitted in this fight. I don't think anyone is going to get knocked out in this fight. I think this is going to go to distance. It's going to be won by decision. But you cannot overlook Arman, even if he's not the most marketable guy. But when you look at overall, who's fought better fighters, obviously we got to give it to Islam. Even with
Arman's
the
dangerous
fight,
though.
It wasn't a great. What's that?
Arman's very dangerous. He's knocking people out. He knocked out
dangerous.
Beneil Dariush with a knee. The guy is dangerous. Arman is a very dangerous guy. He's explosive.
We're just looking.
Tsarukyan's won 4 in a row. He's 22-3 as a pro. This is the legit number 1 contender for Islam Makhachev. Islam, though, 26-1. 33 years old in the prime of his career. Seems unstoppable. How shocked would you be, Fred, if Islam lost on Saturday?
I mean, I would be shocked, but I wouldn't call it the biggest shock ever. There's been a lot of there's been a lot of other fights that were bigger upsets than that.
Yeah.
Like, what did you say the odds were? Islam is what, minus 200 something?
350.
350?
Yeah.
You know, that may be a little bit of a big favorite. Like, maybe I would have it just a little bit closer, but that seems about right, man. I'm going to go with Islam until he loses.
And then you look...
This guy's been so dominant, it's hard to pick against him.
Yep. He seems
and then you look
unstoppable.
at like guys like Rob.
He can do anything. I'm not sure how he beats Tsarukyan. I think he can, take him down if he needs to. I think he can stand up with him and beat him there. I think he can really take this fight anywhere he wants it to go. He can control it because he's got that wrestling advantage. He can kind of control where the fight takes place. I think if Tsarukyan has a shot, he's going to have to outpace Islam. I think he's going to have to see if he can drown him in deep waters and get him so tired. Like, we've seen Islam... Remember in the 5th round against Volkanovski? Volk was putting it on him. Islam looked a little soft in that 5th round, like, oof, maybe he was gassed out. I mean, it was a tough fight with Volk, but it's going to be a tough fight with Tsarukyan. I feel like if you are going to beat Islam, you're going to have to put a pace on him that he can't match. But that's going to be a very high pace that I'm not sure is humanly possible for 5 rounds. Like, is there a man alive that can out-cardio Islam that hard that you put him away, that you win? Like, okay, Volkanovski kind of outlasted him, but he still lost like most of the fight until the 5th round where he kind of had more cardio. But the rest of the fight, like, he was losing, so...
But it's not only that, Dave. I think another thing would have to be is that Tsarukyan has to have very solid takedown defense. If he's not able to stop Islam on that, and it's going to be a heavy pace going in. That's what I think is another issue. If he's not able to be able to break free, this is where the problems begin. And I think that's what's going to happen like in every round. I really think he'll be able to, go 50-50 through the rounds on the ground. But I think the takedowns is what's going to be, the make or break, on top of the stand-up, like you said, like to go to that pace. But Arman can do it. I think he really can do it. I just think that if he's not able to be able to stop the takedown, that's where he's going to end up losing. But,
yep.
I think
that's the story of an Islam Makhachev fight, though, right? If you can't stop the takedown, you're going to wind up losing. And not many people can stop that takedown. That's what
it comes down to.
Not many people can.
Hard.
I wonder, I think Islam wins one of two ways. He either wins, the first 2, 3, maybe 4 rounds, 5 rounds. Maybe he wins all the rounds. I think he's going to win, at least 3, get a decision. But I could also see him putting Arman away in the first 2 or 3 rounds.
Oof.
I could see him.
It would be so difficult, Dave. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you take him down. You get to his back while you're still not that tired, and you could put a squeeze on him. Just take him out.
Yeah, if he gets
take him down,
behind
get to
his
back,
and gets
finish the job, go home.
Yeah.
He can easily do that. Islam is that good, man. Would you be that surprised if he did that? If he did it in the first round? I wouldn't be that shocked.
First round I would be surprised. I would be shocked.
I wouldn't. It's Islam Makhachev we're talking about. He's that good.
Yeah, you're right, man. What is it? I was just saying earlier, I said I was listening to Robert Whittaker on his podcast, and he brought it up, and he was like, between the two, man, he goes for the champ, and basically said, in a nutshell, Islam is just simply better at everything. And that's where the edge comes in. It's just it's just that edge. And you know what? It's going to be a different story because what you were saying is Arman is only 28 years old. In 5 years from now, Arman is going to be that dangerous guy. Might be the champ at that point. you know. But right now, it's Islam's time, you know. For the next 2-3 years, you just gotta wait. You gotta sit and wait, you know. And I think that's Arman is there, man. There's no giving up on him if he doesn't win on Saturday, because he, you know, it's gonna be hard to go through this guy, you know.
Mm-hmm. If Islam is still there and hasn't retired in 2 or 3 years, I think Arman, if he's, you know, I think Arman could stick around and challenge him again and maybe beat him. You know, because now it's like, okay, 6 years ago, say Islam is whatever, 27 and Arman was 20. All right, Islam's going to win. Now he's 33, Arman's 28. Okay. You know, Islam wins. But at 36, and then when Arman's like 30, 31, is Islam winning that time? Exactly. You know, I don't know. That's when, you know, you get the age plays a factor and things happen and whatever. But who knows if Islam even sticks around that long? He could easily just retire the champion like Khabib did, and that would be fine because he's, you know.
And that makes sense.
He's legendary at this point.
That makes sense.
He's a Hall of Famer.
You'll go the 20th fight. You'll go the 20th fight. 21 fights, like, you know, no losses, and he'll do like Khabib, walk away with a clean record, you know, and be just a notch above Khabib, like in the win department. But, you know, Arman is a beast, man. And I just was going to follow up because I saw a comment come in from DJ. Like, they've already fought before it. This is not their first fight. They fought in the past, and Islam beat him. And at that time, even though Arman was young, he was super strong and aggressive, man. Like, I was looking at the highlights of that fight. Man, like, you know, even though that they're fighting again, I mean, they were two bulls back then, and they're two, like, seasoned bulls right now.
Yes, but I thought, you know, watching that fight over again recently, I thought, you know, Arman just wasn't as good as Islam. He presents a lot of the same challenges, but just not as well. You know, he's just not as skilled in every aspect of the game, and that's really all it is. Islam is just better. Incredible fighter, incredible guy. Islam Makhachev has defended the UFC lightweight championship 3 times. Khabib only defended the title 3 times as well. So with a title defense here, he would have defended the UFC lightweight championship more than Khabib Nurmagomedov, his coach, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah, that's it. It's a record at 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I messed up. I forgot that Islam lost 1 fight, so I take it back, by the way.
Okay. You know, Khabib is amazing. The guy was, you know, a legend of the sport, one of the best of all time. And now he's become one of the best coaches in the sport. It's like he's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick combined. He's Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson. He's everything in one. It's incredible. You don't see athletes of his caliber become great coaches like he has with the level of success. There's the Nurmagomedov who fights in Bellator, who's a champion over there. You got Islam over here, and you got Umar Nurmagomedov, the other one, another cousin of Khabib. He's fighting for the bantamweight championship, and he's favored to win as well. Umar right now, minus 300 the favorite. Merab plus 225. Umar Nurmagomedov, 29 years old, from Dagestan, 18-0, taking on the 34-year-old Georgian Merab Dvalishvili with an 18-4 record, who is the current bantamweight champion after an absolute smashing destruction of Sean O'Malley in his last fight. And we were talking about potential draws in the UFC. UFC really banking on Sean O'Malley to be that draw for them. It didn't quite work out the way I think they might have wanted. And guess what? They're already planning for his return. I heard Dana White is saying that Sean O'Malley is probably looking at the winner of Umar and Merab, which is odd because he's coming off a loss to Merab. But hey, why not?
I mean, who else is there?
I don't know. Still,
exactly.
though. Isn't that a little O'Malley shaky? You don't make him fight one time?
I agree, but at the same time, we just spent time talking about how Islam's not a big draw.
Yeah.
And, let's be honest, Merab and Umar are probably less of a draw than Islam. So they might need that little O'Malley rub.
You're not wrong.
Push those numbers.
I'm just saying, like, what? But that's, it's the entertainment versus the sport. You got to have that fine line, and sometimes you got to throw Sean O'Malley a bone. And he'll probably fight the winner of Merab and Umar. I think it'll be Umar, and Sean O'Malley will just get smashed by Umar, which is fine. Oof. This is a good fight, though. Merab is very good. Like, Merab is excellent. This is not going to be an easy fight for Umar. I'm more confident in Islam winning than I am in Umar. But I also think Umar will win because he's under Nurmagomedov. He's part of this team. They find ways to win. I think, Merab coming into this fight is not 100%. And when you're a 34-year-old guy who's not fully healthy, who didn't have a healthy training camp, admitted that he didn't have a good training camp because of injuries. Merab is saying this fight week. He had injuries in his training camp, and it wasn't the best camp, but he's healthy now, so it's fine.
What happened with his leg? Did you see his leg?
No.
Yeah, somebody was saying something about staph or something on the chat.
Oh, I don't know. It was he has this really weird scar on his leg, as if he had like stitches. Almost, it looks like. So it doesn't really look like staph, but he has like this weird scar on his leg.
I don't know. I don't think he's healthy. He said he wanted to fight in March, but the UFC wanted him to fight here, so he said okay. Sounds like what happened to Aljamain Sterling when he fought Sean O'Malley on a date that was a little too close to comfort.
But generally, when you look at Merab, his cardio is like insane. So if he doesn't have that same pace going into a guy like Umar, who is like Dagestanian future, you're right, Dave. There's a problem. Is he playing the game? Is it like maybe like, trying to give like the hint that he's not as like healthy to fight? It could be like a strategy just to throw the guy off, and you never know with Merab. Merab is. I
don't buy that,
Dave. But I'm just saying, myself too. But it could be, but I doubt it. I mean, like I said, we'll know in the first round if Merab doesn't have that pace that we know that it's insane. There's gonna be a problem. Umar's there. He's 18-0 for a reason. These are two titans, man. Like it could go either or if everybody's 100% health. But if what you're telling me that he's saying that, and let's say that it's true, it's not a good time to go up against a guy like Umar. You could get away with it with a Sean O'Malley, but it's going to be interesting, man. Saturday is going to be I think it's going to be a really interesting start to 2025 for the UFC.
Yep. I think it'll be an interesting night, and I think it'll be a successful night for Team Khabib. I'm going with a clean sweep in the double main event for Team Khabib. I got
one take and one steal.
Yeah, I got Umar becoming the new champion, beating Merab. I think Umar just, out wrestles Merab, outstrikes Merab, is a little bit more, is a little lighter on his feet. I think he's going to make Merab miss a lot. I think Merab's going to shoot and not be able to land the takedowns. I think Umar's going to, win a lot of the scrambles. He's going to have to win some of those scrambles because Merab is really good in those positions as well. He moves very well. But, it's going to be a battle. I think that's going to be a close fight. I think it goes to decision. I got Umar winning, like a 48-47 type of thing, 3-2. I think Islam might win all 5 rounds, but I think Umar might squeak by and get the win. What do you think?
I think I'm going to lean. I'm going to stick with my man Merab, man. He's going to figure out a way to get that win, man. Come on, Merab, do it.
Okay. AJ, what do you think? Team Khabib? You going with the new Nurmagomedov, Umar? Or
Look, man, And like Freddie, there's a lot of like odds makers out there and whatnot, and people picking, and they're going with like the Georgian. They're going with Merab. They believe in his like unstoppable power and like his pace and all that kind of stuff. But I just think that, and to be honest, if he wins, it'll be the biggest win of his career. But he's the champ. That's the problem. If this is going to be the biggest win of your career, when a guy is looking to take your throne, to me, that's very scary. And to be honest, like, I want to go with Merab. If it was anybody else, I would drop down Merab all the way. But this Umar, man, it's just unbelievable. And the thing is that, like, if Merab is not able to control the takedowns again on another Dagestanian like Umar, which we've seen, it's going to be a totally different game. This kid is like, every time I see him, it looks like a better version of Khabib. And that's the difference. Umar looks like the better version of Khabib. Now that's serious. So I'm going with you, man. I like it's, there's a lot of people against, I think, with our picks, but I think it's going to be a Dagestanian year, man. It's going to start in 2025 and it's going to end with 2025 Dagestanian champion.
Start. It's been their year every year for the past like 8 years.
Yeah, but coming up now this year, man, with the Umars and all the rest of them that are coming in, there's so many more of them. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah, let's, I got a parlay that it might be all Team Khabib. They got Tagir on the team, too. Tagir Ulanbekov opening up the show.
Yeah.
Tagir from Team Khabib.
There's a reason, man.
As well. Ridiculous. Okay, Yuri Prohaska, Jamal Hill.
Oof,
light heavyweight fight.
Fun fight.
Really fun fight. Yuri goes for the kill. Yuri is powerful. Knockout artist. Reminds me a bit of Junior Dos Santos. Just headhunting.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah, you're right.
He is very dangerous. And if he cracks you, you tend to go to sleep. He is coming off a knockout loss to Alex Pereira back in June of last year. He's had a good 6 months to recover. The only losses recently that he suffered in the UFC are to Alex Pereira. Otherwise, he's undefeated in the UFC. He's looked good. Jamal Hill's also looked good, though. Former champion.
Yeah.
Coming off a knockout loss as well to Alex Pereira. They're both they're both knocking on the door of a title shot. A win here puts them in a very good position for a title shot, right? A win here, and I think you take on the winner of Pereira and Magomed, if that fight is ever going to happen, right? So this is a big one for both guys. I just think Yuri will be able to take Jamal's punch, and Jamal won't be able to take Yuri's, and it'll come down to that. I think Jamal is a little bit better of a striker, technically, but Yuri just packs a wallop. And he's going to land a couple. And I think he's going to put Jamal Hill to sleep. Yuri is a slight underdog in this fight. Plus 110, Jamal Hill minus 140. It's interesting.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, didn't he come off an Achilles injury as well? Like, shouldn't that be a concern for most people? Let's be honest.
Wasn't that before the Pereira fight?
It was.
Yeah.
But then he got knocked out by Pereira in 3 minutes. So it's not like he's come back from that injury and looked good.
I've been up and down on Jamal. I remember it took me some time to believe in him. Once I started believing in him, I think I picked him to beat Pereira, and he lost that fight. And now I look at like all his antics outside the cage, and I listen to him making a lot of excuses. I feel, man, Pereira beat you, man. Just give the man his props and hope for a rematch. Don't be doing a bunch of excuses and all that. So I I got doubts on his mental strength to be a top fighter. So, and I don't have that doubt with Yuri Prochazka. I know Yuri mentally is as strong as you get, but as you said, Hill is a very good striker technically. So maybe he has an edge on the technicality. But I'm gonna go with the raw emotion of Yuri pulling it off, finding a way to knock out Hill at some point. Because if it goes to decision, I think Hill might have a chance to edge that decision.
Yeah, you might be right on that. I think Yuri is a better athlete than Jamal Hill. I think Jamal Hill has more skills, but Yuri's more athletic, more powerful, stronger, and I think he's going to get the job done. AJ, what do you think, Yuri or Jamal?
And I'm going back to what I said. I think the Achilles injury, and I know Achilles injuries, it's that, man, it's horrible, and it could come back at any time. I mean, once it's done, it's a terrible injury. But if you look at the loss to Pereira, before that he had 4 in a row wins. And now that's another issue with me, because when you look at the wins that he's got, he won against Jimmy Crute, he won against Johnny Walker, he won against Thiago Santos, and he won against Glover Teixeira in his retirement fight. And he couldn't even KO Glover. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he had 4 in a row leading up to Alex Pereira. But on paper, man, Yuri, if Alex Pereira wasn't there, Yuri would be the king of the hill. Let's be honest. So it's like Jamal Hill, like Freddie said, man, you know, he's not in the same category, man. Yuri he's a beast, and he'll still continue to be that beast until Pereira's there.
All right, how about Beneil Dariush and Renato Moicano? Moicano, 35 years old, but seems like an up-and-comer in the UFC. He's won 4 in a row, including a TKO win over Benoit Saint-Denis in his last fight. And now he's getting this big fight here on pay-per-view against Beneil Dariush, who was one of the top lightweights in the world for many years, but he's lost 2 in a row now. A knockout loss to Charles Oliveira, and then a knockout loss to Arman Tsarukyan in his last fight. You know, he didn't look great in 2023. Tough, he didn't fight at all in 2024, and now he's starting 2025 here, Dariush. 35 years old, same age as Moicano, but seems way older. It's not just the gray hair and the beard. It's the past couple of fights. It's not just the physical appearance. It's the in the cage appearance. It's just, it doesn't seem to be clicking anymore for Dariush, and everything seems to be running perfectly for Renato Moicano these days. And I think Moicano was the underdog last I checked. Has that switched? No, he's the favorite now.
No, he's the favorite.
Moicano minus 170, Dariush plus 130. I think Dariush may have opened as the favorite in this one. But I think people are starting to realize, like, man, Dariush is just not, he's flat. He's looked flat in his past couple appearances. It's not just that he lost to better opponents. It's that his performance in the cage was not what we're used to.
Not spectacular.
Yeah,
no, it's almost like he has no gas in the tank.
There was a drop,
and that's the thing. And you know what? I always look at Dariush, and I used to say, like, man, I didn't want to go against him, you know. But now this guy is talking that if he gets this 3rd straight loss, he's talking about retirement. And every time someone starts talking about retirement, you know, he already knows what his next step is. Yeah. Win or lose, he's going to take retirement. Like, let's be honest. But the problem is he's already going with the mindset that if he loses, like, his time is done. The problem is that he's fighting Moicano, who's on an uphill, and he's on a streak, and he's becoming more dangerous, you know, as time goes on. And to me, what he impressed me the most is when he beat Benoit Saint-Denis. I didn't think he was going to be able to beat Benoit Saint-Denis, and he did. And that changed my whole game on Renato, man, was that BSD fight.
Yep, it was very impressive for Moicano. He's looking better and better every time. I don't
Crazy,
know.
Eh?
Yeah. I'm going to go with Moicano also. And as far as Dariush, like, his last 2 fights were against top competition. So, you know, maybe we give him a break on that. But if you look before that, you know, Mathis Gamrot is a nice win. Maybe Tony Ferguson. Well, we know where Tony Ferguson's career has been the last couple of years. Diego Ferreira, Holtzman. It's not the top of the echelon that he's defeated. So I tend to think that Benil's better days are behind him. So I think Moicano's got the win.
And we will be watching the fights with you Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Shout out to Antoinette gifting a membership over at join.ringsidereport.net. Shout out Antoinette, one of the longtime members, as is Angelo Contagona. Shout out to Antoinette and Angelo. I see you in the chat. CSL Lauren as well. Good evening to you, all the members over at join.ringsidereport.net or membership.ringsidereport.net. Support the channel that way, however you can. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us here on a Thursday. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe.
Come on, guys, do it for 2025, man.
The problem is Antoinette wants to see me. I mean, I'm extremely busy. I don't have time for anything
Got a point,
ever.
Tyler.
You know what I mean? It's very difficult to get me out. AJ and Fred can vouch for me, right? You don't see me out anywhere. Where do I go?
No, Dave's an introvert, man. He's like
but it's not just that, AJ. I don't have time. I'm busy constantly. There's no moment of the day where I can just go and do something. You know?
You're not as free as a bird.
No, I have a lot of responsibilities constantly all the time. There's always something. So it's hard for me to,
Just a quick thing to Tyler. He is asking how the fight's going to go down for
Dariush and lose?
I think it's going to be a decision. I think it's going to go to distance. I think Moicano's going to push the pace and he's going to win unanimously.
No, I think he's going to knock him out.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why wouldn't he? He's won.
Yeah, he could. But I think
Moicano has won his past 2 fights by TKO, stopping his opponents, and Dariush has lost his last 2 fights by knockout. So I see the comment says, how does Dariush Kanato cannot KO him? My question to you, Tyler, why not? Moicano's won 2 fights in a row by knockout, and Dariush has lost 2 fights in a row by knockout. So to me, knockout. No? Am I wrong on that? I think he knocks him out because I think Dariush just doesn't have much in him. I think, Moicano hits him, hurts him. Dariush goes, I don't want to do this anymore. Wilts, turtles, gets beat up, and the ref jumps in. That's how I see the fight playing out. Dariush getting hit a few times, going, oh, shit, and then falling down, and then going like this, maybe in a seated position, and then Moicano going like, and then the referee going you gotta show me something, Benil, and then Moicano going, and then the referee going, okay, that's it, get away, and then doing this.
If it's Herb Dean, there's a couple of extra.
Yeah. If it's Herb Dean, it's show me something.
Like a minute more extra.
Show me something. I think he's dead. Show me something. Okay, that's enough. He's dead. Leave him alone.
Herb.
Yeah, maybe a TK. Yeah, I think it's going to be like a TKO where he hits him a few times. Benil's like, oh. And then he hits him more. And Benil's like, oh. And then he hits him a few more times. And the referee's like, yo, Benil, you got to stop doing that. And Benil's like, oh, but it hurts. So it's all right, you can't say that. Fight's over.
Let me retire. It's done.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen
he's had
it,
a great
right?
career, man.
Where fighters kind of don't have much left, but, they're fighting out their contract and they're in there with killers and they take some punches and they go, I don't want to do this anymore. And it's not physically breaking. It's a mental thing because they were never really mentally in it to begin with. I hope I'm wrong, man. I hope Benil looks amazing and has a career resurgence for his sake, but it didn't look great. I love to see an old man do well. Yeah, Benil looks super old.
Yeah,
Benil
he
looks
pretty
way
great,
older
man, in
than
a short
he
period
is.
of time.
But what if he comes with a nice dyed hair, fully black,
Like the Sean O'Malley pink,
boo him,
blue, yellow.
Get him out of there. I don't want to see that. I like old man Dariush. Dariush looks about 60. He's 35. He looks so old.
Well, you know what's funny? He had a kid and then he went all gray, man, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah.
Hey, listen, talk about being released. You know who got released today from the UFC, which I'm in shock and I'm kind of disappointed and I'm sad? Guess who got released today? The Carpenter, man. After 19 years of being in the UFC and giving everything, Clay Guida has been retired. It's really sad, man.
So here's my parlay for UFC 311. Let's investigate 311 together. It's a Team Khabib parlay. I'm giving it to you. Khabib style. It's Islam. It's Umar. It's Tagir. It's 20 to get you 44.84. It's a 3-fight parlay. It's pretty solid. 20 gets you 44.84 over at bet99.com. Islam, Umar, Tagir.
Tagir, man.
That's the Team Dave parlay. I kept it real simple, Fred. How do you like that?
Mine is even simpler.
Yes.
I only have two fights.
2 fights.
Yuri and Money Moicano.
Ooh, Yuri and Moicano. Staying away from the Khabib boys. Freddie giving us Yuri and Moicano. It is a 2-fight parlay for UFC 311 from Freddie. And how much does 20 get you on that parlay? Ooh, it's not bad. 20 gets you 66. It's plus 110 Yuri, minus 170 Hanato. That's a Team Fred parlay, AJ. That's a good one.
That's funny, man. The chats are funny today.
Huh?
The chats are funny, man.
I don't know what's happening in the chat.
But, like, you're keeping it simple, you guys, eh? You know I'm going to start the year. Well, it didn't do too well, my last picks. But I'm going to go with more than 2 fights. I'm going to start off. Do you want to get my picks, Dave, or not?
Your last pick sucked. You finally gave up on Mackenzie Dern. You're like, she's done. It's over. And then she wins.
I know, dude. And you know what that means? That's the end of my relationship with her, man. Of course, it's a breakup
over for
now.
you and her, man.
You know
she
she's not coming with me. I know that, man. When I saw that,
I sent her the clip of you saying she's going to lose.
Oh, don't do that, dude. Don't do that. It's already bad enough because there's other guys in jiu-jitsu that
She said, Dave, that guy AJ is a piece of shit jabroni. I was about to
I used to love him.
I was about to DM him and say, come meet me and we can be in love forever. But then I saw the clip that you sent me, Dave, and now I hate AJ and I want him to die.
Yeah, so Megaton sent me a message too. He just said like this. He goes, "Fuck you." Yeah, so that's it. No more sauna with Megaton.
You're on the outs with the Mackenzie Dern team. What's your parlay this week? What losing fights do you have for us this week, AJ?
Well, my friend, this is going to be a winning fight because when I go Dagestanian always win.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, obviously,
Islam.
It's going to be a tough fight, man.
Islam.
But like I said,
Umar.
Don't bat.
Yuri's not from Dagestan, but it sounds like he could be. He's Eastern European, so you're going with him, right? Can I just pick your parlay for you?
Go ahead. I want to see who you think I'm going to go with.
You're going with Islam. You're going with Umar. You're going with Yuri. You're going with Moicano.
Sí, señor. And who are you going to go with? I'm going with the last fight we didn't talk about.
You're going to go with Rainier DeRitter over Kevin Holland. Because he sounds like almost Eastern European, even though I think he's from...
he's a 2-time champion in one championship, man. This guy is
Dutch, isn't he?
Look, he's coming... I think so.
He's
Dutch. A Bas Rutten guy.
Yeah.
Do you want to go against Bas Rutten? The Benelux.
Duma. Huh?
He's got nice looks. He's got the yellow hair. He's got everything, man.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking, cool. Kevin Holland.
What?
What are you saying, Dave? I was going to say Kevin Holland. He's entertaining, but you know what? It's always like a toss-up with this guy. Like, his striking is obviously probably better than Rainier, but you got it, Dave.
Wolfcastle fighting again. Yuri Prohaska, Rainier Wolfcastle, Renato Moicano, Islam Makhachev, and Umar Nurmagomedov. It's a 5-team parlay, plus 948. 20 gets you 209.65 at bet99.com. I mean, that's a payout, brother.
How much? It was
20 gets you 209 and 65 cents.
I like it. I think it's going to come out, man.
Islam, Moicano, Rainier, and Yuri. You don't know Rainier Wolfcastle? Rainier Wolfcastle.
I know. Wasn't that from like what was that Wolfcastle? That movie there with those kids there that were always high.
From The Simpsons. Went to White Castle. He's like the Schwarzenegger guy in The Simpsons. Rainier Wolfcastle.
Up and at them with those kids.
Watch out, radioactive
Freddie, tell me, man.
Up and at them. Up and at them. Up and at them. No? Up and
Freddie,
at
help me out, man. White Castle burgers.
Somebody out there knows Rainier Wolfcastle.
Harold and Kumar? What are you talking about?
Yes, that's it, man. Harold and Kumar, man.
Fred, you don't know Rainier Wolfcastle?
Well, now I do, but if you would have asked me 5 minutes ago, I would have said, who the fuck is that?
Come on, man.
I haven't watched The Simpsons in probably 10 years, man. Come on.
All right. I mean, it's an old.
I have no idea what you guys are talking.
What just happened to AJ? Did AJ glitch out on me?
Am I gone?
He's bugging.
Again?
Oh, AJ's bugging. Oh, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird bugging. It's like he's,
Oh, he's frozen now.
No, I don't think he's frozen.
Oh.
No, he just stopped moving. Oh, he's frozen now. Nah, he just stopped moving. He is kind of frozen, though. Oh, yeah, he's weird. AJ, you're getting weird. What happened?
Good thing it's the end of the show.
Doing that headstrom.
Yeah. What? Cool.
Are you playing a game on me, man? This has got to be Dave.
I wouldn't play these games. I don't like what's happening. Why would I do this to myself? It's a prank on me more than anything. Angelo says, what happened to Bellator? I heard it will become PFL. Yeah, I heard the same thing. I mean, that makes sense. They bought Bellator. Why would they keep running separate Bellator shows? Just keep it PFL. I heard PFL's doing away with the tournament format, though. No more $1 million tournaments. We're just going to do like regular shows like UFC.
You sure? Because I heard they were bringing down the prize money.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the tournaments are still there, but the prize money is now $500,000 for the winner. But I might be wrong.
That's not good for a business, man. Yeah, either or, it's still not it's not good.
I mean, losing money is not good for a business either. So.
Yeah, but that's a bad sign, man.
Let's see. PFL. They're back. 64 fighters, $20 million on the line. 8 weight classes. $20 million on the line. What the hell? New tournament format for PFL. Yeah, 500,000. So why is PFL saying it's $20 million on the line?
Total,
maybe that's total that they're paying all the fighters for every. That seems weird. Cool. So it's less cool to go to the PFL now. Great.
Was it ever really?
Did a good thing.
You could go make $1 million, which was cool. 500,000 for a tournament is less fun. It's half as exciting.
Still getting the same beating,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. It's hard to swallow that I could have got $1 million for this beating like a couple of years ago. That's why Olivier Aubin-Mercier, man, he got $2 million out of this organization. He walked away, man. Smartest guy around.
I guess he got his money and he left. We'll see what Francis Ngannou is going to do over there.
Not good. Exactly. You know what's going to happen? Get Francis Ngannou back into the UFC. That's what you need. That's where this is where you need to hype it up again.
Yeah, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Okay, guys,
think so.
We'll be back Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time for UFC 311. We're going to watch the pay-per-view with you. And I'll be back, actually, tomorrow night with Johnny North for Wrestling Uncensored at 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll be on while SmackDown is on and talk to you about all the wrestling things that happened this week. Busy week in the world of pro wrestling. And then again, Saturday night, we're back for the UFC 311 watch along right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time, and have a good night.